You are listening to All Burgundy and Gold, everything with the urban sports scene on Fox Sports Radio 96.9 FM and 1340 AM. Hopewell, Virginia. Wole and Glenn are your hosts. Ray and Mo are out. We are joined with CEO of Double Take Sports and 3-point conversions, Washington football team reporter Karita Parks. We're supposed to have Legacy Maker Sports, Darrell Lee Owens on the show as well. It's a good day, man. It's the Washington football team postgame show. The Washington football team defeated Tom Brady, the GOAT, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 29-19. What's good, Karita and Glenn? What's going on? What's popping?
Hey, I'm glad to be here to talk about a win.
I know that's right.
Hey, they finally listened to me, and he ran the freaking football. I've been saying this for weeks. Y'all heard me say it week after week. A 10-minute drive, longest drive in the NFL this year. And what did he do on that 19-play drive? He ran the ball.
I was impressed. I thought in the beginning, we'll get into it though, but in the beginning, to your point, in the beginning of the game, I thought I didn't like the way they were on the football, because they were letting, Tampa Bay's a speed team defensively. You see the speed with the linebacking core, and they're running outside. I think that was the wrong way to do it. And they got more aggressive and more downhill. And to me, I think you saw a different toughness when it came to Gibson. I've been harsh on Gibson, saying he's really a wide receiver playing running back, but he showed out, man. You gotta get credit when credit's due. Homeboy showed out.
Absolutely. This is the best I feel like the offense I've seen them look all season.
No, I totally agree. Hey, you can find this show on Fox Sports Radio 96.9 FM and 1340 AM. Hopewell, Virginia's Facebook, YouTube, and also Twitter pages. So on Twitter, you can go at 1340 AM Fox Sports. So make sure you check out any of those, platforms. Also, it will also be tweeted on our Urban Sports Scene feed, which is at Urban Sports Scene, and also on our Urban Sports Scene Facebook page as well. But let's get right into it. I'm talking about the game. The Washington football team upsetted the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 29-19. Karita, I'm going to start with you. First off, your initial thoughts on the game.
Yeah, like I just said, I felt like the offense, they had the most work to do, in my opinion, going into the bye week. They came out and they really put it together today. Like we were saying previously before the show started, the defense was showing some signs of life before the bye week. So we kind of expected that they could keep it going. But Heineke looked good. Antonio Gibson, when McLaurin got back out there, I mean, a lot of guys made plays on the offense, and they stayed with it the entire 4 quarters.
Glenn?
Again, possession. The way that you beat Tom Brady and the way that you used to be able to beat Burgundy in a high-powered offense, you don't let them on the field, right? You don't give Tom Brady the football. How many of us were sitting back there watching, and football fans were sitting they need to score. Please don't get Brady the ball back with only up by 7, right? Because this is going into overtime. The mindset was thinking, right? Even Ron was thinking that. But the Washington football team today did something that most teams had not done against this Tampa Bay team. They controlled the clock. The Washington football team had the ball for 39 minutes, right? 39 minutes in this game to the Tampa Bay's 20 minutes, right? And guess what? They won the football. They controlled the clock there. They was effective. They was efficient. Third down today was great third down for the Washington football team. They were very efficient and effective on third down. Their game plan came out was that they third downs, they had short yardage third downs. It wasn't 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9, or 3rd and 10. They had 3rd and 4s and 3rd and 3s, 3rd and 5, where they were manageable third downs where they could get to. And what did they do on third down? I've been screaming about it all week. I've been talking about it. They ran the ball on third down. And what happened when they ran the ball on third down? It was a first down, and they kept the drive going.
Yeah, they're physical. Even I think a lot in that game, there's a lot of physical play. Washington's defense was physical. They were physical with Brady. They're physical and smacking the wide receivers. You didn't see missed tackles. There were so many things you saw defensively that you didn't get to see. You didn't see that we saw to an abundance on the negative side in the beginning of the season with this defense. And you saw a lot of things, to me, defensively. Everything looks ironed out. I know he joked about it, talked about Landon Collins at linebacker, but him playing linebacker has been a godsend for this football team. Cam Curl playing his position, forcing that play to create the interception for William Jackson was huge. It just created so much momentum in this football game, which this team needed. And to your point, Glenn, I think we've seen it, and we can be fair. we may not be happy with some of the play calling down the stretch of running the football, but this team has taken more of a run first mentality in terms of time of possession. They've tried to do that because that has helped the defense. We talked about it on prior shows, how it goes hand in hand. You have the ball, you win the time of possession, that helps the defense out. So I just thought that in terms of the play calling for Scott Turner was great. I love the play calling. I love the toughness of Scary Terry. He didn't look healthy, he looked banged up, but you saw how that's what a leader does. When we talk about leaders, the best player on this football team, he's definitely it. Like, he sets the tone. He shows you what it is to be a professional, what it is to be a football player.
I'm not gonna let Scott Turner off the hook yet. I mean, they won the game by all means. They won the game, and I like that. But guess what? The Washington football team should have won this game by more. They're down in the red zone in the first quarter, and they take field goals, right? Because of this play calling there. They're still 2 for 4 in the red zone. Those should be touchdowns. If you had touchdowns against Green Bay, you win the game. So in this case, how many of us thinking like, oh, they need to score here? All right, another field goal doesn't mean anything to them. And it was happy they got into the end zone. But their first 2 possessions where they were inside the red zone or inside on the Tampa Bay side of the field should have been touchdowns. Great play by getting a new field goal kicker. My gracious. My goodness. You get a field goal kicker may make points. It changes the game. But the red zone efficiency of the Washington football team is still atrocious. 50% today.
Yeah, and Karita, what were your thoughts? I mean, again, we talked about this. We both didn't think this outcome would happen, but why do you think that it did happen? Was it more Tampa Bay taking this team lightly, or is it more, knowing that you're playing against the great Tom Brady, you had to bring your game up, or is it the bye week? What do you think the reason is for this team to play this way?
I think it's a combination of a lot of that. I don't know if Tampa Bay took Washington lightly, being the fact that Washington gave them trouble last year in the playoffs. But Tampa Bay made a lot of mistakes. So, they shot themselves in the foot quite a bit as well. But Washington was able to capitalize on those mistakes. To your point, Glenn, I was a little nervous as well with those 3 field goals because I'm like, you can't just walk away with field goals, especially after 2 interceptions. Like, you need points. You need 7 points on the board. So, but back to your question about why they were able to do it. But the defense stepped up as well. Tom Brady was never able to really get a rhythm out there. And they kept him off the field as much as possible. So I would say the defense helped control the game, and then the offense took advantage of the opportunities that they got today.
I want to check back on what Sarita said. I think Jonathan Allen set the tone early.
Yeah.
When he hit Tom Brady, I think it was the first play from the game, and he went in there and laid Tom Brady out. I think the defense set the tone early, and they were able to capitalize off of that. Then because look at it, after that hit from Jonathan Allen, Brady may not have been all right because the next 2 out of 3 passes were interceptions. Now, granted, they bounced off his receiver's hands, but one was real late and one was real high. So I think Jonathan Allen hitting Tom Brady early rattled him a little bit.
Shout out to my man Cameron. Says any given Sunday a team get a W. Shout out to you, Cameron. So I'm gonna go back to you then, Karita. Like, then who are some of your highlighted defensive players? I mean, Glenn already mentioned Jonathan Allen. Is it just Jonathan Allen? Do you have a player that stood out to you defensively?
I mean, I know Kendall Fuller had some good plays today as well. Chase Young, he was making an impact before he got injured. Let's see. Those are the 2 that kind of stick out to me, just like right off the top of my head.
So what was your thought process when Chase Young went down, and he went down with no contact? That was kind of scary.
He did go down with no contact. And, obviously I was wondering what exactly happened, but when I saw how much pain he was in, I knew that it was not, it seemed to be more of a major injury, not a little, like ankle sprain or anything like that. When you don't have Chase Young, if this ends up being a more serious injury, which you're saying it could be a torn ACL, you don't have him on the field, and then you're also without Montez Sweat. That could be a problem. But Washington's defense still responded even without Chase Young, because I was thinking when Chase Young left the game that it would kind of give Tampa Bay some momentum, but it did not.
Glenn, what was your thoughts when Chase went down?
I mean, my first thought was, I hope he's okay.
Yeah, of course.
I hope he's fine. Hope everything works out. Yeah. But this defense is better without him.
Ooh. Or tell me why. Okay, that's a hot take. Come on, man. You got to go in.
I tell you why. You look at the Chase Young, right? Chase Young and this defensive scheme has been able to open multiple lanes in the running game and multiple games against several teams. So therefore, now you have come in disciplined players. And let's not forget, Chase Young is not only the first rounder pick on this football defense is much more than just Chase Young. To me, I think really the heartbeat of the defense is Jonathan Allen. I think Chase Young gets a lot of credit for it, but Jonathan Allen is the heartbeat of this team. Even though this team didn't get any sacks today, they were still in Tom Brady's face. That front four was effective. Even if you looked at it, even with Chase Young out, I think we talked off air this. With Chase Young gone, that means they have to add more pressure. They have to become more creative. Therefore, that means Del Rio has to come up with more schemes and more things to go and allow other athletes to be athletes. So therefore, you're not just dependent on Chase Young. I like Chase Young, great player, but I think this team as a unit together is a little bit better without Chase Young.
Well,
So go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say without him, it forces everybody to step up even more. You can't just rely on Chase Young, one of your best players out there. So I think everyone, when he went out, everyone had to step up even more.
Yeah, and I just think that I see you coming from, Glenn, in terms of the product on the field, but I do think that's a coaching issue because I've said this before. You put so much pressure on Chase Young and Montez Sweat to produce talent without bringing produce pressure without bringing any extra individuals on blitzes or whatever. So now it's predicated on them to just kind of show out, right? And they're still relatively young in terms of being pass rushers. So I kind of looked at it as a knock on the coaching staff because you put so much pressure on them to make plays. But I agree with you, Glenn. I think that looking at it, because you don't have a Montez Sweat, because you don't have a Chase Young, now you feel like you have to manufacture pressure, right? Because you don't have them on the edge. You got Jonathan Allen. I agree with you. Jonathan Allen's been the best defensive lineman on the squad for a while. Him for this season. Him and Matt Ioannidis to me are like guys people don't like to talk about. But those dudes are the dudes, right? They are the dudes. They're the guys that do this on a regular. So in this season, it's been all about Jonathan Allen. But I do feel like it's something on the coaching staff or the defensive side of football. And I'm gonna give Del Rio credit. I think Del Rio over this 4-game stretch has improved. I'm not gonna say, we got to get Jack Del Rio out of here, but I do think it shows you something that we saw a lot of pressure in this game. And why is that? Because you know what? You don't have Chase. You don't have Montez. So now you feel like you have to manufacture pressure from the outside because you do believe with what you have on the inside.
Yeah, you do. You look at Chase Young up until this point this year, looking at stats, he only had 14 tackles all year so far.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like the productivity that he had last year was not where it was at this year. I think this team, so his productivity had dropped off, whether that's double teams, whatever the case may be, whether teams are being more effective running away from him, all that. But again, he wasn't as effective. So they were going to let other teams were going to let other people other than Chase Young beat them. And I think once again, I think it will be better. I hope he's well. I hope Chase Young, he is the heartbeat of that defense. He is a motivator. He does get guys play up to the next level. But this time we get to see how this defense will be if Chase Young is not present.
And also, the heartbeat, I feel like that's Jonathan Allen. I'm not gonna lie to you. That's who I feel like it is. I feel like the heartbeat, Jonathan Allen's the heartbeat of this defense. But I do think that sometimes when you do get injuries, or anytime you kind of sit back and look at what look on the field from a different perspective, like a coach's perspective, right? You can improve your own play because now it forces you to work on other things. Like you're going to see certain things that you weren't able to see before because you're going to study a little bit more. So, there's a blessing in everything. I know it sucks to be hurt. It sucks. I'm not going to act like, oh man, this could be a good thing. No, it sucks because you as a competitor, you want to be out there. But in the blessing side of things for Chase, it gives you an opportunity to kind of work on your craft on a different level. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody knows you're a freak of nature. Like that's a given. Like what you got in terms of what God gave you, it's amazing. It is. You're talented. But also on the flip side, you get an opportunity to study it and watch it. Watch the game, watch what your teammates are doing, see, they did that. Maybe I would have done this. You know what I mean? I could do this to improve on my craft. So I just think maybe he can look at this time off because from what I saw, it looks like some time off. That
and he got hurt at a time. The season
almost over.
Right, season's almost over. Washington is not in playoff contention. Yeah. So this would have definitely been more detrimental last season.
Of course.
You never want to lose a Chase Young, but at least, Washington isn't in playoff contention. And
yeah, I know, right? Sorry.
No, I'm glad you said that, and not me. I'm going to say it too. They're not. I think I mentioned it last time. They're not in playoff contention.
Oh, who's talking playoffs? I don't do that. Y'all know I don't do that. Yeah, not with this team.
But because you're going to hear that talk today, right? You're
going to though. You're going to.
After this big win right here, you're gonna hear this talk. Okay, they're off the bye week.
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna go on a run, but let's be honest, they're still undefeated in the division, right?
Yeah.
So they're still undefeated in the division. So anything can happen. But you can start hearing people talk about that. Don't put the cart before the horse. Let them string a couple games together. They still have a tight run to go through. You know what I'm saying? Before we can even mention the word playoffs.
Oh man, I forgot, man. I feel bad. Shout out to the homie Ray. It's his birthday, man. That's why he's not here. Shout out to the homie Ray.
What's up, Ray?
You know
that's a big, you didn't let us know that.
I know. I feel bad about it. You know what I'm saying? That's the dude, man. That's the homie. You know what I'm saying? I feel bad about that. But let's go into the player of the quarterback, man. He gets a lot of, he gets a lot of blame, a lot of credit at times. Taylor Heinicke, how would you assess Taylor Heinicke's play, Karita?
Today, he played well. He stayed locked in. He was sacked. In my opinion, he was sacked quite a bit. He was hit quite a bit. He was uncomfortable. I mean, the defense was on him. Tampa Bay's defense was on him, but he stayed locked in. He made plays where plays needed to be made. I felt like he's looked comfortable over the past couple weeks, and he always looks confident. But today, it just looks like he was playing his game.
Yeah,
and he looked the most comfortable I've seen him over the past couple weeks.
Glenn, how would you assess his play?
I think today was good. He threw more than he ran.
Yeah,
I think that was more confidence there, that he was confident in his passing game, and then he also spread the ball around too. But I like that he didn't just focus on one receiver. I mean, he spread the ball around. We saw Cam Sims get involved, Humphreys get involved. Gibson caught a couple passes. Bates caught one. I think the tight end Jones caught a couple. Carter caught a touchdown for the second game in a row.
That was pretty.
Yeah, you have McLaurin. So he spread the ball around, and he was effective and efficient. What was it? 26 for 32? 26 for 32 with 256. I remember this. We talked about Ray. Ray always asked that question. He's always that guy to ask the question about is Taylor Heinicke the Redskins or the Washington football team's quarterback, right?
Yeah,
you can't argue with that today. You can't make an argument with that today. He played lights out today against Tom Brady and had a good day. He had 2 touchdowns. Guess what? He didn't throw any interceptions. So he was effective and he was efficient with the football. So as of today, and I mentioned a couple weeks ago, he's always been, and I think he will be for the rest of this year. Even if Fitzpatrick gets healthy, he will be the Washington football team quarterback for the rest of the season.
Yeah, but it's all right. It's pretty much a stated Fitzpatrick's probably gonna be out for the whole year. But with him, it's crazy. So watching the game, it's like he's a very lucky quarterback. You know what I mean? He's a very lucky quarterback. Like, you're right. He didn't throw any interceptions, but it don't mean he wasn't close. It's drops. It's Sunday, so God is with you. He's been blessed. It's Sunday. So I'm just saying.
The box score is the INT.
I know. I'm with you, Glenn. I'm just saying though. Look, man. I'm writing notes, and I'm like, it's the luckiest dude I've ever seen in my life. And I'm not like I'm anti. I'm not anti-Taylor. I'm like,
you the one that scared me. The one that he threw in the backfield with the tip with one hand.
Yeah,
that's pick six.
That's pick six.
That's pick six.
Pick six. You know what I mean? He'll just the whole float went on. Is the dude? I mean, the dude is a special cat. Like, I respect this gangster because he just plays the way he plays. I respect him thoroughly because I'm all about me. I'm all about dudes gonna compete. And he competes, and you see that he wants it bad. He may be limited in terms of physical tools, but he wants it. Like, I know he wants it. Do I think that he's a starting quarterback? I don't think he's a starting quarterback, but I think for the football team, for the way they're constructed, he's the best player they have at the quarterback. You know what I mean? Like, that's how I look at him. I don't think he's better than Ryan Fitzpatrick, but I took that away because I know Ryan Fitzpatrick's not coming back. Like, I know he's not coming back. And also, when you're looking at, Kyle Allen, I saw enough of Kyle Allen to know who Kyle Allen is. Like, this kid, Heinicke, at least I know that he is going to put it all on the table, period. Like, he just has that mentality. So I'm cool with him being a starting quarterback. So, like, I feel like fans are a little bit too hard on him. I'm going to use the same narrative that I used in the past. No one thought that the quarterback was going to run this team anyway in the beginning of the season. Everyone thought this team would be predicated off the defense. So the quarterback was never, ever going to be the guy like an Aaron Rodgers or anything like that. You know what I mean? Like, this quarterback was just supposed to be a manager, to be honest with you. That was the role of this quarterback. So, I mean, today he managed the football game. That's how I looked at it. And he did what he needed to do to win the football game. And he had, like Glenn said, that drive was amazing because he made some big throws. Scott Turner called some good run plays. So a combination of everything that those two did well in terms of closing the game out. I mean, watching that last drive reminded me of watching Joe Gibbs back in the day. Like watching Joe Gibbs back in the day, it was like it's the last drive. You don't want that other quarterback to touch the football. So you're going to run the football. You're going to take the time off the clock, and we're going to limit this individual. We're going to limit that dude back there. That dude, number 12, TB12. We're going to make sure that he ain't going to hurt us. Because you know what I mean? Exactly. Like you ain't going to hurt us. Like we going to score a touchdown, or we going to end this thing off, and you ain't going to hurt us. We ain't going to have fans like, oh, here we go again. We're not going to have that. We're not going to be on that mode.
No. And Ron did everything to win this game. Even to the end, to the decision. I know fans were watching with the 2-point conversion, right? Yeah. They're taking knee. We're not gonna risk a field goal getting blocked. Smart. We're not gonna risk us throwing an interception. We're not gonna make this a 1-score game whatsoever. And to your point, we're not letting Mr. Brady have this ball in his hands unless we up by 2 scores and he has to go down the field real quick.
Yeah, that's the way you have to do it. Like Ron was smart, and there's no lesson in this game, Ron from Coach Rivera. There's no, we're gonna try to teach a learning lesson. No, he was trying to win. He was trying to win. He put the message out there. He was trying to win. Usually Ron kind of iffy with his messaging, but the message was clear this time. He wasn't trying to do extra points.
He coached aggressively the whole time, from challenging that the interception, the one that went off. I forget which play that was, but it went off of someone's foot. Oh
yeah, challenging. Yeah, it was off of Goodwin's foot, and Fuller almost caught it.
But he was coaching aggressively the entire game.
I think Ron is feeling the hot seat.
Oh yeah.
He's feeling the hot seat. You won 7. First of all, let's be honest. They went 7-9 and won a division, right? Mm-hmm. So his record in Washington right now is a losing record.
Yeah,
right? It is a losing record. And the only thing that's saving grace for him, where the seat is not as hot as it could have been, is that they won the division last year, right? And we can say, and anybody can make the argument if Dak Prescott didn't get hurt, all this other stuff, but guess what? They still won the division. And so here is what they need to continue to do is he needs to continue to win football games. And I think we'll see this, Ron, even next week as they go down to Carolina, right? Think about it. It's a homecoming right now in Carolina, right? Cam is back in Carolina. You got Ron now coming back to Carolina. So Carolina next week will be a Washington coming off a big win. Carolina play Arizona late on this afternoon. So it's going to be big next week for this Washington football team and see where they can go.
Yeah, go Karita.
That's going to be a test. I wouldn't have thought it would be a test, but now it'll be a test because, like you said, there's going to be a lot of energy. They're going down to Carolina. There's going to be a lot of energy. Cam Newton's going to start next week.
He should. Cam scored a touchdown, too. FYI, he scored a rushing touchdown. I just want folks to know that Cam scored a rushing touchdown. Oh, yeah, he scored a rushing touchdown. So if you have Cam Newton on your fantasy football team, you got him for a rushing touchdown. But before we get to Carolina, I think that's an important game. I actually want to talk about the kicker. We don't talk about kickers enough on this show. Seems like we don't. But Mr. Sly was kind of slick.
I was going to say, when Glenn mentioned Rivera was on the hot seat, I was thinking about the kicking position.
Yeah.
Especially, he cut
because he blew it. Because he blew it.
He did.
He blew it.
Terrible. And so he's lucky this went well this week. And I think he'll be consistent. So I'm not as worried about him. But
he was consistent today, and that's good. I think that's what you want, an NFL kicker. That's what you want. You want a guy that not everyone is not going to be
a nice guy.
Well, not a nice guy. I know, right? A nice guy. Everyone's not going to be a nice guy. Everyone is not going to be a Justin Tucker in Baltimore, right? Everyone's not going to be that. You know what I mean? So a lot of times where you expect that a kicker to make every kick, that doesn't happen. This is real. This is the real world. You know what I mean? This isn't fake. This is real life. You know what I mean? But I want to introduce the homie, the real Lee Owens from Legacy Maker Sports. What is good, my man?
Hey, Wale. Good to see you, brother.
Good to have you on.
Glenn, good to see y'all on. Hope everybody is doing well.
We're doing good, man. So, first off, I want you to talk about how did you feel about this? What was your thoughts on the victory?
Well, first of all, much needed. Let's get that out of the way first. That it had to happen.
Yeah.
It was something that pretty much none of us expected this to happen.
Yeah.
Even with a nicked up Bucks team, you thought, okay, they'll still go in there and do what they need to do, get out of DC. But the team played the way we thought they would be playing all year today.
Yes.
This is what we expected from
Exactly.
them all year. Strong, defensively for the most part. Even despite losing Chase, hopefully he's okay. Prayers going up for him. So despite all of that, the offense was clicking. Heineke looked like he was on his game. I'm like, this is the team that we thought we would see.
Yes.
So for me, I love that fact of it. But in the NFC, they're not out of it. That's how crazy the bottom part of the NFC is right now.
See, I'm like they're out of it. But see, Darrell, look at you, all positive. I like that. They're out of it.
Then he didn't hear me earlier.
She ain't you. Because Kareem was like, we're not talking none of that.
Hopefully, I'm not eating my words, but
man, I'm a believer not giving faith to the fan base because they go crazy. So I'm like, I'm about not giving faith to the fan base because they go crazy.
Non-biased supporter, that's my job.
But while we stay on that right there for a minute, the only thing that this saving grace will help them when you talk about the P word of playoffs is that their wins have come in conference.
That's true.
And so if it comes down to a tiebreaker, they right now, because it is in conference wins, will help them out. But that's a long way to go. It's only been 9 games. We have what 7 more games to go. So we got time to talk about that.
Yeah, they 3-6, man. Like 3-6. I think Ron said something about he believes that they are good enough to have a great second half of the season. I think I saw that quote. Yeah, it sounds good. Start off well.
Better second half.
Yeah, that's what I said. Better. I didn't even go extreme. You see what I said? I tried to even sugarcoat it.
Yeah, it sounds good. It's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough when you got teams.
Yeah, it's easier. The only thing the saving grace is that it's easier quarterback play this half of the season compared to what he had to see the first half. And I'll say this: if I'm a coach, if I'm talking to the players or whatnot, to be real with you, I would tell my team that we just beat the Super Bowl defending champions. We beat the GOAT, and we didn't forget who wasn't playing. Truth be told, in terms of his weapons, other than Gronk, he had his weapons. Like, he had enough weapons to beat this team. And we made him look pedestrian. To be real with you, like, say what you want, look at the stats. The stats speak for itself. We made him look pedestrian. We made one of the greatest quarterback of all time, who's torched multiple teams. He even torched the Dallas Cowboys, the team that is in your division. So if I'm gonna talk to you, I'm gonna tell you this. I'm gonna tell you, you know what? This means you can compete with anybody. That's what I would tell my players. I'm as a dude looking in from the other angle. I'm like, you gotta be consistent. I don't believe in that. Like, I don't believe in it personally. But I'm telling you, if I'm Ron, I'm talking to my players. That's what I'm telling them.
Oh, I totally agree. You gotta get this together. Right now, you got 7 games left. Right, you're fighting for your life. You want to buy in. Right, and essentially, if you win this division, win out the division, and maybe get a little bit of help. Teams where it's going to hurt the Washington football team is you have teams, the NFC West. You got Arizona and Los Angeles, right? Both of those 2 teams, right? And then right, and then you have we laugh, but we have the NFC South, right? Because right now, NFC South, you still have Tampa Bay, you still have New Orleans, and not to mention that the team that they play next week with Cam Newton coming back in there, that Carolina Panthers team in that division. Some divisions are going to get 3 teams in, all right? Yeah. And it's either going to be NFC South or the NFC West, and so they have to continue to win.
Yeah, ain't we Washington? Let's go right into Carolina. And Washington is taking on Carolina next week. Could be PJ Walker as a starting quarterback. Who knows? If PJ plays well, but Cam Moore has a rushing touchdown. I mentioned that. Good job, fantasy owners. Cam, rushing touchdown. All right. So, how is this? In terms of the goal, the aspirations for Ron, how big is this game? This is not a game where you're seeing the best quarterbacks in the game. I'm talking about in terms of this season, one of the best quarterbacks in the game. You're seeing, you don't know, their quarterback situation is kind of iffy. This team has been struggling after a tough start, a good start to the season. So, Kareem, I'm starting with you. Like, how big a game is this for the football team going against Carolina? With all the storylines, too.
I think from a storyline perspective, it's a big game, but Washington played Cam Newton in the preseason. I know it's the preseason, But they saw him in New England in the preseason. He's just back at Carolina, and that's a huge storyline. I think if they can just look at this as another game and not get caught up in all the hype, they definitely have an opportunity. Now, Carolina's defense is really good. So Washington's offense, we have to, make sure that they still continue to be efficient next week. So it's a big game, but it's just another game. It's just a lot of storylines around it. Cam Newton back and Ron Rivera going back to Carolina. So they just need to focus and not pay too much attention to the media hype.
Darrell, what about for you? Do you think that, how big of a game do you think is it for this football team?
I mean, every game at this point is going to be big because if Ron's already saying he think they got a good enough of a second half, they can pull off a really good second half. Every game at this point, you're already 6 down. You gotta pull up as many wins as possible here in this second half, and it doesn't get easier for them. I mean, the schedule that they have this year is absolutely insane. They do start to play a little bit more, the division teams towards the end of the season. They have that in there, but for me, I mean, I think it's big just on, and yes, the storylines is going to be big on a lot of fronts. Cam did throw a passing touchdown a little bit ago, so maybe who knows? I mean, it's going to be big, but piggybacking off what Karita said, they seen him. They seen him in the preseason. Now they won't have, we don't know if they're going to have Chase or not, but the way they put the pressure on him in the preseason in that game, they just were all over him. So they know how to attack him. The question is, will they utilize that and make the push in that contest? So, I mean, but from this point on, Ron set the standard. Every game is big for them, but it's just one game at a time, and you got to take it like it's a Super Bowl up until you're mathematically eliminated.
For you, Glenn, big game or not? Is it overhyped?
They have to go 1-0 each week.
Okay.
To me, they got to go 1-0 each week. And you're one step closer to becoming. They win next week. They're one step closer to becoming 6-6, and so you got to continue to win each week. We're not looking past Carolina. You have a Seattle Seahawks team where today, as we know later on, Russell Wilson returns. So it doesn't get even easier for them. And I think they will have to look at. They have to get 1-1 each week. And with the Carolina Panthers having a lot of injuries on that defensive side, it may be an opportunity for Taylor Heineke in the Washington offense to be able to be effective. When you got guys like Stephen Gilmore who's out, you got guys like Brian Barnes who's out for them, who's limited because of foot issue. You got Shaq Thomas who's out as well. So you got a lot of things coming into next week was Washington take on Carolina that they may actually have a shot. I mean, they always have a shot. They would do well and they can beat this team if they play like they played today, run the football, because that Carolina defense is hurting right now due to injuries. And that's the weak side of the football. I like to thank Sheena Quick for all that information on the Carolina Panthers. we talk every week, right? We talk every week.
On it.
We talk like, man, how did Glenn know all that about the Carolina Panthers? Sheena, we talk every week about the Panthers.
Oh, man, that's dope, man. That's dope. All right, so then I'm going to ask this then, because, I'm a Cam guy, so I'm not going to play it off. I'm a watch football team guy, but I like Cam. That's my guy. So the narrative, if Cam comes in and plays well against Washington, not to say forget wins and losses, if he plays well against Washington, well, is that a bad look on Ron? Because you could have had this dude as your quarterback for cheap, vet man, knows your system. This is the only guy you've ever won with, for real. Like, it's the only guy you've ever been a good coach with. Not to be mean, but it's a fact. Took you to the Super Bowl, won some divisions, this, that, and the other. Is that a bad look? I'm gonna start with you, Darrell.
I mean, especially us in the media, we're definitely gonna make it look like a bad look. Because look, let's just be as honest with it.
Thank you, real.
I mean, people are writing Cam off. They've been writing Cam off now for the last 2 years. I mean, even when he was in New England last year, started late. They gave him the benefit of the doubt. He gets released. It's a whole bunch of just, they just wrote him off.
Whatever. Yeah.
Cam right now has nothing to lose. If this fails, they gave it a shot. They brought him back. They've already told Cam if he does well, he could be the starter next year, back with the team that he should always be with. It's like some people he's Carolina. He's Carolina. So at this point, you don't want to. This is a golden opportunity for Cam because Cam wants to be the starter. He wants to be in Carolina. He does. And to piggyback a little bit of Glissa, Sheena last week I think the other day she asked him a question in the press conference about the community work that he did. And there was he was like, yeah, I want to take it a game at a time first, but then I'm going to get back into the community. He's thinking long term. He wants to be there. So for me, yeah, it's a big deal.
Definitely. So, Karita, same question to you. Would it be a bad look on Ron? And also, how big of a game this is for Ron? I mean, this is it's his former team.
I don't think it would be a bad look on Ron Rivera. I know that Cam was out there and Ron had an opportunity to pick him up. But I just think, just based on Ron Rivera's personality, he made his decision to move on from Cam, and he's pretty much stuck to that. I know a lot of people don't want to hear it. It's like, we need to win now, just like Matt Rule said, and that's why he brought Cam Newton back. But I think that Cam is where he belongs, to be honest. It's just like Darrell said, he wanted to be in Carolina. I think he's happy in Carolina. The fans want him back. So I think it worked out the way it should have and was supposed to work out. And for whatever reason, Ron Rivera, his Carolina guy was Kyle Allen. And he brought Kyle Allen here, and that is who he wanted as his quarterback. And he stuck with that. So
that's what's so funny. That's what is so funny about that whole situation. I know this is a Washington show, I know, but I just want to talk about this one little thing. Like, your dudes that you really like, you wanted to bring, and the one is Thomas Davis. God, I love Thomas Davis. He was great when Carolina. Awesome linebacker. Yeah. But he was already done. Like, if you want to say anybody's done, he was done. Like, everybody knew he was done. He was good for the locker room to kind of help the linebacker, but he was done, right? But you made him a starter, though. You brought him back and he was starting for you. Kyle Allen's your backup. These are the dudes these are your Carolina guys you want to bring in. It's like you bringing them, not to be mean. I can keep 100. It's like you brought the losers of Carolina to your squad.
Well, I'm gonna disagree with that. Remember, Kyle Allen had a good year prior to him coming.
Oh no. See, you remember that? You remember that year? Who was our defensive coordinator that year? That was who? Because they played Washington, and they made him look good. No, who was that defensive coordinator? I want that defensive coordinator.
Oh man,
because Kyle Allen looked horrible. He looked good for like 4 games, and then the league found out about him, and then he was starting to throw picks left and right, and then he played Washington, and that's the game that supposedly Ron Rivera was impressed with this Washington's talent. So that's the game he was impressed with Washington's talent. But it was Manusky. It was Greg Manusky. Manusky. It's Manusky. And no, he wasn't that good. No, he was the loser on that squad. No, Glenn, I'm not doing that. Like, we're not gonna do that.
But look how
Carolina guys, for whatever reason.
He was the Washington football team starter last year, at least one game, right?
He did. Then he played in that game against the Giants. He was so in that game. And that's when Ron went for the 2. He wasn't great. No, these dudes ain't nothing. Like, I'm not trying to be mean, but they not. Come on, man. Like, I just know for me as an individual, if Darrell and Karita help me make the bag, like help me make the bag, and I'm in another situation, and say like some other homie who was probably, was the errand boy, right? Sorry, not to disturb anybody. Somebody who's the errand boy, right? And I hired the errand boy over Darrell and Karita. That's foolish. Like, they helped me make the bag, not the errand boy.
Sometimes I wonder though, because to your point, sometimes I wonder, because when Ron Rivera left Carolina, that was after Cam Newton had his injury, kind of affected his career. Sometimes I wonder, is there something that Ron Rivera knew about his injury?
Maybe
that's the only thing that I can think of.
I got another thing though. I got another one. Some people get like so enamored. It happens in all the sports. Like when people say you can't do it without me, type of thing, and they get, oh, you think I can't be this dude without you? Well, I'm gonna show you. And I feel like that plays a part.
That
might play a little bit of a part into it too. I think it's what I was gonna say. Karita had a point where Cam, he didn't bring Cam with him when he came to Washington, right? Yeah. He had opportunity. Cam was a free agent. All that stuff went down. I don't even think they even brought Cam in, right? I don't think they even brought him in. So which would let you know that he didn't want anything to do with Cam, right?
Yeah, I agree.
Even when Cam, with this whole vaccine situation and New England let him go, Cam didn't come into Washington again, right?
Yeah.
Which lets you know he didn't want Cam. So, all this talk that may come up this week is, Ron liked the time they spent together, but guess what? It's like an old girlfriend. Sometimes you don't go back, right?
Yeah.
You're not supposed to go back. You're not
Supposed
supposed
to
to
go back.
You're not
Look,
supposed
man.
to do that.
Look, sometimes you gotta go back though. Sometimes you gotta go back.
No. It's just like, you know, I'm talking to Mr. Walmart here, right? Sometimes it used to be Mr. Walmart, right? Sometimes you don't rehire folk.
Yeah.
Right? Because once you let them go the first time, they didn't change. So you don't rehire people.
Right.
So where Ron is at now, there's no reason for me to bring Cam. I'm trying to change a culture.
Yeah.
I don't want this attention, right? I don't need Cam Newton in Washington. Washington has enough attention without Cam Newton already, right?
That's true.
I don't need some Washington.
I feel like, yeah.
They don't need anything else to add to that.
Yeah.
That's a good point too.
But
and
like, I'm always.
go ahead. Oh, go ahead.
No, go, Karina. Go ahead. No, go.
No, I was just gonna say it makes you wonder though if Ron Rivera was with another team and in another situation, would he have been more open to Cam Newton? But yeah,
point.
Washington's situation was completely different.
But I feel like
it's touchy.
It's touchy, but I feel like we're talking about Cam. We're not talking about some rapist. I'm sorry, I'm not saying that. He just can't. He's not a rapist. He's a good dude. Like he gets the community.
The one who got away.
He get. Look, man. He gives the community. Like he's gotten away. Yes. All right. Look. He gives the community. He gives little footballs to little kids when he score touchdowns. Like this is like this whole image thing gets me. Like, all right, like it bothers because there's so all right. Like Tom Brady will run down a referee and say "F you," this, that, and the other, blah, 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 and berate it. Like Cam don't do that. Like he don't do any of that. But we look at Cam like just because he goes in press conferences and wears this, I don't know what that crap is, but he wears whatever. And like now he's got this image of he's a distraction. He's Cam. Like what? Like really? That's what we doing? No, like I'm making this a Cam Newton show. I'm sorry, y'all. I just can't help it.
That's what some other people think. You know what I'm saying?
Man, forget them people. So.
I think what has hurt Cam in our community and other communities is that if Cam would have won the Super Bowl that year,
yeah.
If Cam would have won the Super Bowl that year, we're talking about Super Bowl champ. He'd get the pass of Tom Brady being able to run down an official and say "F you," right?
Yeah.
But because of the narrative that came out of that Super Bowl was Cam Newton being highly upset, being mad, whatever case may be.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Right?
That's true.
That's the narrative that came out, and that's how America has viewed Cam Newton ever since.
So true.
And they have not changed the narrative of Cam. Who wants to be next to? I coach high school football. There's sometimes I don't even want the same team that we lost to go in our locker room and change to go home. You know what I'm saying? Like get your stuff and get on the bus. You know?
Oh man.
But at the same time, you have to adjust that. You know, Darrell, you call for high school games. There's some games that you like. You know what? I wish this team just get up out of here, right?
Look, let me tell you something. There's been a lot of high school games where I was just like, man, I wish this thing would end. You know, I mean, about like 60. It's like 60-3-0. I'm like, man, can we get?
Yeah, we all felt like that, but Cam gets the negative. He gets the negative side of it. One, because he's an African American guy, and let's be honest for what it is, right? Because Tom Brady can sulk and be mad all day long, but once Cam Newton does it from a 15-1 team, and you lost to an old guy, Peyton Manning, you don't have the right to be upset.
Exactly. Yeah. Look, you said it for me. I couldn't play. Thank you. I didn't want to say it. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. All right. So, hey. So, all right. Prediction. I want a quick prediction. For next week's game. So I'm gonna start with you, Darrell.
I knew you was gonna start with me.
I had to, bro, because you weren't first. I gotta make sure you get showtime, bro. This is what I do.
I'm gonna say. It's in Carolina, right?
Yeah.
Carolina's winning that game. I'd be very surprised if they lose this game. First game back, that crowd is going to be bonkers. Yeah. That crowd's going to be bonkers. If Washington can play through that, because they're going to have to punch them in the mouth early to quiet that crowd down. Because if Cam scores first or they get going in any form of the fashion, I'm going to tell you right now, that game is going to be ugly, and it's going to be ugly fast. You know, I've never been a huge fan personally of Cam's throwing motion, and but Cam gets things done. You know, he'll have his off games here and there, but for me, I got Carolina in this one. I think it's going to be close. I say about like 27-24. I think it'll be it's going to be a lot of emotion in this game.
Definitely.
So I'm going to go 27-24.
Karita.
I am actually going Carolina too because it is going to be Cam Newton's homecoming. He's going to have, I think, a lot of energy. If you look at the game, I just checked the Cardinals game. It's still a passing score and a rushing, but it's Cam Newton with their 2 touchdowns right now. I just think the crowd's going to be crazy.
Damn. I knew I should have picked him up.
Yeah, 2 touchdowns already. 2.
The
knew I
crowd's
should
going
pick
to
them
be
up.
crazy. I'm with the Real. I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I think it'll be pretty close. I'm going to go. I think it'll be. I'm just going to go like a 28-30. But
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a close game. But
Yeah.
I think Cam is going to want to win in his first game back on the field in Carolina.
Yeah, Glenn, what's up?
It's going to be a close game. I totally agree with you guys.
Yeah.
It's going to be a close game, but it's going to be Washington's football team who wins this game a 27-24 with our new kicker,
Like.
Slide, right?
Yeah, slide, man. Slide.
Yeah, Slide's gonna help the
Slide.
Washington football team win this game. Cam's gonna have a great game, but I just think they have too many injuries on the defensive side of the football to slow this Washington football team down. So I'm gonna say Washington football 27-24.
Yeah, I'm going Washington too. Even though I'm so pro Cam, I'm going Washington in this game. And Washington's gonna be real close. I'm just really impressed with the defense of late. So I'm gonna go Washington 24-17. I think it'll be a defensive struggle. I really do. I just think that Washington's playing. They're playing defense the way we all thought they were playing. We're going to be playing at the right time, and I think we've all seen steps of it. Like throughout, week by week, we've seen improvement on defense, and I just think that their guys are playing well. I think moving Landon Collins to linebacker has helped dramatically. Having Cam Curl play his natural position like what he was doing last year has helped his defense dramatically. I think William Jackson had an interception. That's going to do better for his confidence. Jamin Davis, if continue to get more works, please stop playing Mayo. Like, stop doing that. Like that's a little ridiculous. I don't know what you're trying to pull with that. Like, stop doing it.
That's your point, real quick.
Go ahead.
Cam Curl had leading tackle today. 8. He was leading tackle today.
And he made that big play to start to me that keyed this win for that interception by William Jackson was that hit that that popped the ball out. So I just think that they're playing at the main category for this team was defense. The main slot was defense for this football team, and they're doing it, and they're playing led by their defense. So I think they'll do enough to win this football game, and I think they'll win it 24-17. And Taylor Heineke, if he can just be a manager and he's do some of the things he did in the game against Tampa, because Tampa brings a lot of pressure. I mean, Bowles don't play. Bowles don't play. So I think he handled the pressure, decently. So I'm gonna give credit when credit's due. So before we shut this show down, Darrell, I want you to tell our listeners about your platform, how they can catch you also on social media.
Well, everybody, Legacy Maker Sports Network here in Central VA. We cover, DMV sports pretty much in, right here in the community, VCU, UVA, Richmond, William and Mary, ODU, I can go on and on. But you can catch us at legacymakersports.com. You can also go to our social media sites. We're on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. We're also on Twitter and LinkedIn. So you can catch us on all of those. At Legacy Maker Sports Network. And my personal Twitter is Delo_Legacy on Twitter.
Karita, can you bless us with your platforms as well?
I sure can. My platform is Double Take Sports. We cover mostly NFL, NBA, and WNBA. Been credentialed for the Super Bowl. I'm also a freelance sports journalist where I cover the Wizards and the Mystics as well. Also Super Bowl and such. So you can find me at Karita C. Parks and also Double Take Sports at DBL Take Sports.
Awesome. Well, we appreciate Glenn and I appreciate for both of you to be on the show. We love it. You guys were great. You were lit. You brought the energy. We talked about Cam. We talked about everything. We talk about everything. Hey, and you can subscribe you can subscribe to our podcast on Spotify, Stitcher, iTunes, and Google Podcasts. Search all Burgundy and Gold, everything with the Urban Sports Scene. Also tweet us at Urban Sports Scene and hit us up on our Urban Sports Scene Facebook page. Again, I want to say happy birthday to the homie Ray Jeezy. Appreciate you, my man. Anyway, you've been listening to All Burgundy and Gold, everything with the Urban Sports Scene on Fox Sports Radio 96.9 FM and 1340 AM. Hopewell, Virginia, for ages. You dig? Deuces.